Hi, I'm Tim Murray, Winnemac lawyer. Don't shut this video off because I have a story that you're going to love. I use it in my workshops on estate planning and elder law. It's called My Last Man Standing Story. I practice in the area of estate planning and elder law, and this happened here several years ago with an elderly couple that I was trying to get to do some thorough estate planning. So I'm going to cut right to it. Here's what happened. A classmate of mine, she's an only child. Her mother was divorced and married a second guy, her stepfather. He had been widowed and he had 3 kids. So they came to me and wanted to do wills. I talked to them about asset protection trusts. I talked to them about a lot of different things, but they didn't want any of that fancy estate planning stuff. They trusted each other. Famous last words, okay? And although many of you may not know the area I live in, not too far away are some very popular lakes at Monticello. They spent $150,000 of the mother's money on buying a new house on a lake down at Monticello on Lake Schaefer. I just like to point that out to add a little bit of spice to things. So anyway, they decided they just wanted to do wills. The first one to die, the surviving spouse would get everything so they could live comfortably. And after the last spouse died, half of it would go to my friend, the only child, the daughter, and half of it would go to his oldest son. So I wrote their wills up that way. And about a year and a half later, the mom dies, and there wasn't much to do. And the stepfather, the gentleman, who was a great guy, he just kind of hummed on, I guess. And oftentimes what happens is the stepdaughter then, instead of dropping in 2 or 3 times a month to see mom and stepdad, now that mom's gone, maybe she drops in 2 or 3 times a year to see old stepdad. Well, about 2.5 years after mom passed away, I get a phone call. And it's from my friend, and she said, "Murray," because that's what she always calls me, is Murray. I said, "Yes." And she said, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What's going on?" And she said, "Did you hear that my stepdad died?" And I said, "Yes, I heard he died about 2 weeks ago." She said, "Well, we were supposed to meet at the house after the funeral, and his 3 kids didn't know I came in the side door into the kitchen, and they were all in the living room. And they were talking about like, wow, I like that coffee table over there. I think I'm going to take that. And I like that lamp over there. I think I'm going to take that." And I said, "Yeah, so?" And she said, "Murray, that's all my mom's stuff." And I said, "Well, I think you have some investigating to do. And if you find anything out, let me know, because nobody's come to me about the will or anything to go on with stepdad's estate." So about 10 or 12 days later, I get a phone call, and this is what my friend found out. Sometime in that 2.5 year period after her mother had passed away, the stepdad had gone to a different lawyer, okay? Gone to a different lawyer and had a new will drawn up. And in the new will, guess what my friend got? A big fat 0. Absolutely nothing. And I could do nothing. There was nothing I could do to change it. There was no legal authority. Everything was done properly, and she got absolutely nothing. None of the $150,000 back that was used from her mother's estate to build their home, to buy their home on a nice lake. None of her other monies. Nothing came back to her. So that's why I call this my last man standing story. Did they have an alternative way to plan and do things? Absolutely. I'm going to briefly explain it because it takes more than just a few minutes. They could have used a revocable living trust. They could have deposited their assets, their home, their cash, their investments into this revocable living trust while they were both still living. They could modify it, they could manage it, they could do anything to it they wanted to. After the first one of them died, so when mom died, that revocable living trust closes up and becomes irrevocable. The stepdad wouldn't have been able to change it. The instructions that mom and stepdad had put in together would have held up. Everything would have passed the way they'd originally set things up, and stepdad wouldn't have been either influenced, changed his mind. Those things wouldn't have been able to play a part in changing the distribution methods and how things could be taken care of. He'd have been taken care of for the rest of his life, and when he passed, half would have gone to her and half would have gone to his oldest son. Just a few changes, some extra planning that wouldn't have taken very much, problem solved. Think about these things. If you'd like to have a conversation about how these things can work in your life, what kind of tools you might want to take a look at, you can come to one of my workshops. I offer one online on my website, www.tmurraylaw. That's www.tmurraylaw.com. Up at the top, you'll see View a Workshop. You'll click on it, fill out some information, start watching a workshop, and I talk about the Last Man Standing story and many other stories that relate to your life and the things that happen in your family. Or you can call us for an appointment, 574-946-7819. That's 574-946-7819. I'd love the chance to work for you and your family and make your estate plan and plan for your elder years. Thank you for listening to this video, and because you did, instead of paying $200 for a consultation, it's going to cost you $10 to make an appointment and come and sit down and talk about these things. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.